presentation is on head-related transfer functions, which is a response that demonstrates how an ear receives a sound from a point in space. HRTFs describe how a given sound wave is filtered by the diffraction and reflective properties of the head, pinna, and torso. This filtering occurs before a sound reaches the eardrum and inner ear. Biologically, the pre-filtering effects of these external structures aid in locating sound. To encode the response, a head-related transfer function, which uses a mathematical formula representing curve fitting, calculates phase and frequency response to assess how human ears receive sound location. Humans have 2 ears, however they can locate sounds in 3 dimensions, that is distance, direction, above, below, front, and rear, and either side. Mark?
Thank you. So as Corey mentioned, HRTFs, a head-related transfer function, is a response that demonstrates how an ear receives a sound from a point in space. So first is direction. So sounds are heard and interpreted differently depending on their incoming direction. In order to capture HRTFs, one could put microphones in their ears, put them in an anechoic chamber, and play sounds from every direction acquired. When applied, this process allows for a data set of HRTFs that are generic enough to be used for most situations as well as working with most individuals. Next up is distance. Reverb, the use of reverb or lack thereof to give the impression of a sound source's distance to the subject. High frequency attenuation, where one can apply a low-pass filter, adjust cutoff frequency, and create a sound that is more muffled, in turn emulating distance. Last, loudness. An attenuation of sound is based on the distance of the sound source. So basically farther being more quiet. Great.
Now, humans estimate sound location by taking cues from one ear, defined as monaural cues, and by comparing cues received at both ears, defined as binaural cues. Of these cues, there are interaural time differences, interaural level differences, and spectral filtering. Interaural time differences refer to the time in which a sound wave reaches the listener's left and right ears. This time difference varies depending on where the sound source is in relationship to the listener's head. The farther to the left or right side of the head the object is located, the larger the time difference. Interaural level differences takes into account that the human ear has difficulty discerning the time of arrival of higher frequencies. To compensate, amplitude differences must be made between our ears to help us determine sound direction. And lastly, there is spectral filtering. This occurs when sounds, coming from different directions, bounce off the inside of the outer ears in different ways. The pinna modifies the sound's frequencies depending on the direction of the sound. These changes in frequency are what humans use to determine the elevation of a sound source. Diane?
Alright, so now that we dealt with all that, what are HRTFs really good for? Almost anything related to simulation, from medical hearing aid to video game immersion. You'd think they already be implemented in video games.